Welcome back, viewers. You already know tomorrow Cameroonians will be celebrating the National Day. We are talking about national unity. And my guest tonight is a civil society actor. He is Nji Lucas. He's coming to us from Boya. Nji Lucas, we thank you so much for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. We are talking about national unity. We know it is no news that in Cameroon we have been preaching the gospel of living together, or vivre ensemble. What interpretation do you as a Cameroonian or as a civil society actor give to the phrase living together in Cameroon?
Cameroonians of all shades of opinion, tomorrow, which is the May 20th, will be celebrating the 20th of May. And Cameroon is actually plagued with a lot of issues that surround hate speech. And we shouldn't forget that hate speech are languages that are not needed, because the law of Cameroon is against hate speech, the United Nations is against hate speech. And hate speech summarily is described as a discriminatory statement which is made against a person or a group of people by the United Nations. And I want to say that we can't be talking about national unity or issues of national unity with such amount of hate speech that we now experience among Cameroonians. These are not things that Cameroonians should celebrate on a day like this, in the time of the history of Cameroon, such as we have. And in summary of the day of tomorrow, it's about our national unity, to look at what is the contribution of the civilian population and the military population with regards to national unity and our harmony. And I want to say that hate speech, such as defined by the United Nations, is very conspicuous in almost gathering of every big gathering of today. When I talk about big gathering, I'm talking about Cameroonians who think that at the political front they have a lot to say. It is common for you to hear top politicians today talk about things that has to do with hate speech. And I think that it is time for us as a people to put hands on deck and to come together and combat this ill which is creeping into the society, which is destroying the country. And I think that the best way to do this is to have everyone on board. Hate speech is the worst thing that has ever happened to a country. If you look at the South Africans and what happened, especially within the period of the apartheid, it was widely propagated by hate speech. And today in Cameroon, we have that so much. We are quick to hear others call people, the Tontus, the persons who are coming from other regions, they call them all defamatory names because they think that others are more important than others, which I think it is not the best. Thank you.
You seem to really be condemning hate speech, which is somehow a problem to national unity, and you're completely right there, Mr. Nji Lucas. Now, can Cameroon, as we see it, be considered as a model of unity? In our context, can we consider Cameroon as a model of national unity?
And it is also important to let Cameroonians start. We are talking about the indivisibility of the country. And there is one thing which is quite conspicuous, like I said, is the aspect of hate speech. Today, it is very common to hear persons of class trying to deform others, try to look at others with a lot of prejudice. And when you look at these things, they are not in any way building a nation. We talk about one and indivisible Cameroon. And when you hear aspect of hate speech, where a certain ethnic group is quick to call others by the names which are not welcoming, which are all hate speech. At a time when the Musonge Commission talks about the fight against things like this as their job description gives them. These are people whom I can say that they are indeed segregating, dividing, splitting, spreading out the nation of Cameroon to different segments. And proponents of, if you call me by what you identify me, for example, some people are quick to call others settlers or people we don't like. Some are quick to call others the Tontus. Some are quick to call others the Burmese. Some are quick to call others, as you have them being identified as, the Ewundos. Some are quick to call others the Dualas. This identity is not on the basis of calling others as per what they are coming from. It is because Cameroonians most often certain Cameroonians who want to divide the people. And we can't talk about indivisibility when we are quick to identify people by their ethnicity, whereas we ought to identify Cameroonians by the fact that Cameroon is a nation with two principal languages. And we can't talk about our national day when we look at these things. For example, how does this unite the people? It doesn't unite the people in any way. Rather, if you were not a Cameroonian and you're watching Cameroonians of all shades of the Republic, with the different stratas of the Republic, calling others by this and trying to make others feel like they are not a Cameroonian, whereas they are Cameroonians. You find bona fide Cameroonians who try to alienate other bona fide Cameroonians because they identify them through certain hate speech, like we watched in some time past, like we listen to in some time past, where other Cameroonians are said to be Cam no go and the rest. These are not words that are welcoming at all, because they come to tell us that we are a divided people. And you can't talk about Cameroon being one
And now, Mr. Nji Lucas, what according to you should be done? Not necessarily only by the government, by the society, and also at individual levels, to scrap away these hate speeches and ensure that Cameroonians can live, that living together can be real and not just a slogan in the country.
Consequences of such are quite enormous. For example, if you look at young Cameroonians today out there, there is this picture in their heads. If you look at what is happening within the society, a man from the north can clearly identify with only people from the north. The people from the central region want to identify with people from the central region. The people from the grass field want to identify with people from the grass field. The people from the forest zone want to identify with people from the forest zone. Now, these are different geographical regions of the Republic of Cameroon. It doesn't make Cameroon, so to say. And the consequences, like I said, they are enormous. Because of such things, you find young people who think that if I'm coming from Yaoundé as the Ewondos, they tell you that they are in control of the nation of Cameroon. And you look at the people from the grass field, where you have the people from the west region right down to the northwest region. They have this feeling that they are not welcome in the Republic of Cameroon. You look at the people from the southwest region, they think that they own certain areas. For example, you go to the Doualas, you have young people who are coming up, and these ideas are being put in them by their politicians. Whereas if you look at the people with their system of living together, you will realize that these are not the things they project in their livings together. The common man does not see this as a problem, but the politicians are struggling day in, day out to divide the people through certain things, such as these things. So I think that this is the time for the law in Cameroon to have its full hand against persons who uses such words such as people we don't like, strangers, Cam no go, the Tontus, the Bamins, the Ewondos, and the rest. You don't identify Cameroonians by that. We should be able to look at what is our national unity. We have things in Cameroon that identify us as Cameroonians. These are the things we should rather use as Cameroonians to identify ourselves, both in and out there. And I think that if we do this, we must have solved the jigsaw or the puzzle, which is who is a Cameroonian. A Cameroonian should not be identified by that. So the consequences are enormous. So I think that this is the time for us Cameroonians to sit, and together we can fight this. The civil society should not be the only one to fight against this. If they identify these people, let the government prosecute. You should be able, you live in a community. When you are called...
Thank you, Nji Lucas, for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. And we hope to have you some other time so we can talk more on living together in Cameroon. Viewers, thank you so much for being with us.